In today's video, I want to show you 4 different stocks which gave us volatility setups today, in which we don't typically see these volatility setups. Those stocks are Nike, Lululemon, and I also have Costco and Starbucks on the list. If we get some time, we'll also take a look at Super Microcomputer, but otherwise, those 4 are the stocks I want to show you. They're recognizable names, and what's interesting about them is we had a unique volatility setup today that we haven't seen at least for the past week or so. Inside of Nike, I have a 5-minute, 5-day time frame chart loaded on. And in fact, if we extend this even to 10 days, I think that helps to demonstrate this point even further. Going back to August 15th, you should notice price action has just been hovering inside of our volatility box models. Price has not breached either the upper or the lower volatility box models in Nike, telling you very clearly that volatility has been muted. And in fact, right here, you can even see that price compressing and just chopping back and forth inside of this zone. Now comes today. Today, we have a very clear shift in volatility in Nike. We have sellers taking control. Price first breaches our aggressive volatility box models, and we then breach our conservative volatility box models after that lunchtime hour funkiness has ended. Now, what's interesting about this bounce is by the time we saw our oversold signals and momentum shifting, that was where the selling had exhausted, and now the buyers were starting to step in. We see that rally into the close for the final 2 hours. So Nike, a very clear example of volatility doing something different than what it's done for really much of the past 10 days. It's the previous day where we can see that first little breach, similar to what we saw today with our volatility box models. So Nike, first example of a ticker where you had a volatility edge. We also had Lululemon, where you have something similar taking place. Same idea. If we look back at the 5-minute, 10-day chart, you'll notice price just chopping inside of our volatility box models. Now today, all of a sudden, we have a change in that volatility paradigm. Price starting to sell off, breaching our aggressive volatility box models. And here we saw the oversold confirmation, momentum shift, and we can see the bounce that took place from where we had the volatility edge. Lululemon, Nike, very similar. Now we shift our gears to Starbucks and Costco. Now inside of Starbucks, you should notice that the volatility is a little bit greater than what we saw in the previous 2 stocks. Inside of Starbucks, we can see a previous breach here, a previous breach here, and fairly close to getting to a breach right here, along with today's activity with price action selling off. Now in our previous occurrence, this is on August 14th, price sold off into our volatility box models, and we saw such a steep bounce that we reversed all the way back to the other side for a short side setup. So we had both the long and the short side setup trigger here. That gives you an idea of just how effective this was for one of those V-shaped bounces, a V-shaped reversal. Now inside of Starbucks today, we had something slightly different take place. We first breached our aggressive models, and it felt like we were starting to build a base here before that end of the lunchtime hour occurred, and we had the remaining sellers come in, taking price action outside of the aggressive volatility box models before we saw our second edge signal, and then finally momentum shift into the close. Now in that little funkiness, it felt like we were going to get close to that conservative volatility box, but we fell a little bit shy of it. Now you contrast Starbucks with Costco, and Costco not only broke through the conservative volatility box models, but the first edge signal that we saw after that came really in quote-unquote no man's territory. So Costco here, we are starting to see that volatility really pick up as we made that new all-time high. Yesterday, as we made that new all-time high, we breached the aggressive and the conservative volatility box models, had a really nice short side setup, and that continuation today, but we didn't see the buyers step in here as we would have expected. That tells me that Costco a little bit weaker, and with the daily time frame chart telling us we're near this all-time territory, or all-time high territory, that makes a whole lot of sense. You're starting to see buyers step off the gas pedal just a little bit, and that becomes very clear as you zoom into that intraday volatility. I hope you found today's video useful for those of you looking to make sense of some of the different volatility setups that we had today. We took a look at Nike and Lululemon, and both of these stocks appeared on the overlap tab of our live scanner. You'll notice the quality of these setups was also a little bit better than that of Starbucks and Costco. And And that makes a lot of sense. The overlap tab is what we consider our best of the best. It's where we have an hourly volatility box model breach happening at the same time as a daily volatility box model breach. And these occurrences are far fewer than, say, if you came into the daily time frame chart, you'll see we had many more stocks that appeared on this list, where we also had the Starbucks and the Costco, along with some other names you should recognize, like Las Vegas Sands, Zoom, etc. So there you have it, a way to use the live scanner. You can pick and choose. If you want a small list, just stick to the overlap tab. And you saw how the overlap tab gave you Lululemon and Nike today as your two different volatility setups and names that are recognizable. Take care, everyone. Good luck trading, and I'll see you in our next update.